And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to the public segment. Up first, hazardous weather graphic. Got blizzard warnings here in the red shaded areas. Anahtuvuk Pass there into the northern Koyukuk Valley areas, especially along the Dalton Highway, and for the eastern and western Arctic coast. And that's for winds gusting to 50 miles an hour, creating whiteout conditions, or at least visibilities below a quarter mile at times. And that goes into effect for Thursday and Friday. And then winter weather advisories here for the central Arctic coast for visibilities and gusty winds down to about a half mile or less. Same thing for this portion of the North Slope, and then on down into the mountains there, north of the Tanana Valley areas. And again, those areas also for Thursday and Friday. And down to the south, winter storm warning for Yakutat for snow accumulations of 8 to 12 inches. And that's for the borough city of Yakutat. And that'll be from 9 p.m. Thursday or Thursday night into and through Friday as well. And satellite imagery here showing some clouds dissipating and drifting westward, kind of a branch breaking off, shifting up across St. Lawrence Island. This area sort of lingering, but again, the whole area moving westward as a cold upper level low starts to drop in from the northeast here. That's going to bring the cold winds and blizzard conditions into the northern interior there, especially along the Arctic coast and then toward the passes or Anahtuvuk Pass area there. But you'll see a big increase in the winds here across all of the interior. Otherwise, some clouds, not too significant here, actually coming southward due to that upper level low coming down and starting to pull southwestward coming out of the Yukon up here, or the Northwest Territories around the Mackenzie River Delta area, and not too bad on down the southeast coast. See a fair amount of clearing down there over the Queen Charlotte Islands. And on the chart today, gradient starting to tighten up here with the wind starting to pick up as well. I'm sorry, for tonight, tightening gradient here. Starting to pick up some little bit of new snow possibly falling there for the western North Slope, maybe into the Brooks Range or Anahtuvuk Pass, but amounts will be very light. Really, the visibility will be due to blowing snow when the winds continue to pick up tomorrow and the next day. Also look for some light snow possibilities here over the eastern Alaska Range to the north a little bit there, but staying south of Eagle. Should be generally just variably cloudy to clear over the remainder of interior Alaska, right down to Bristol Bay along the coast there, Seward Peninsula. This weak system down here is starting to nudge some moisture, increasing clouds with increasing chances of some snow along the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula, maybe to Montague Island, and just grazing the North Gulf Coast. Looks like a band of moisture could make landfall on the central and north coast of the Panhandle. It will stay dry over the interior with a few clouds. Out to the west, a weak frontal system right through here to a weak low over the just east of Atka Island will produce some light precipitation there for the Fox Islands over to about Atka Island, maybe Adak, and then we'll see for tomorrow, Thursday, that system really just falls to pieces and drifts westward here, just a weak trough right through here, basically leaving the Aleutians dry with light winds. Some clearing possible for the Alaska Peninsula. Much tighter gradient now up here over the northern half of the state, at least up to the Brooks Range, not so much along the Arctic coast. We still see enough wind there for the blizzard conditions, but very windy conditions, again, gusts of 50 miles an hour, especially the higher elevation areas up into the Brooks Range. Still looking at a chance of some light snow with a little bit more in the way of clouds here over the southeast or the eastern interior north of the Alaska Range, but again, whatever falls will be very light, and then it'll mostly extend into Canada. This weak system here drifting eastward keeps a chance of some moisture for Prince William Sound and the North Gulf Coast. Should be a dry day tomorrow for south central Alaska with varying amounts of clouds there all the way down to Kodiak Island, as well as the southeast coast. Dry weather there as well with variable clouds. And moving ahead to Friday, area snow possible here over areas east of the Seward Peninsula there. But wind starting to come down now. As you can see, gradient starting to diminish a little bit, especially along the Arctic coast, but still enough wind to keep some blowing snow going through the passes of the Brooks Range. Otherwise light winds, mostly clear skies here over the southwest interior to Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula. Probably be a few more clouds than what's shown here, but it'll definitely be precipitation free, and that'll extend all the way out to Amchitka Island from Kiska westward. Another very weak system out there will bring a chance of rain or snow to shimmy in at too. And again, weak high pressure here, center right there, really just kind of a lack of storminess rather than a presence of high pressure. So light winds, dry conditions, most of the southern Bering Sea. Remnants here, enough moisture will keep a chance of actually spreading northward here up to the Alaska Range. Pretty good chance of snow on Friday. Could see some new snow for areas of south central Alaska as well, but don't look for that much in any depth-wise or any heavy snow, at least the way it looks at this point in time. And then most of the moisture is staying to the, or along the coast of the Panhandle or off the coast, except up to the north, Glacier Bay, and then of course the winter storm warning for Yakutat for the heavy snow coming into there with that moisture, that southeast flow. And moving on, first day of the weekend. Trough swings westward here, again just grazing the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak Island, probably see the heaviest amounts of precipitation there as opposed to areas to the north. The interior, pretty quiet day coming up Saturday, all the way from the Arctic coast, all the way down. Starting to pick up more cloudiness here over southern Alaska, but winds light, all these areas. Look for an increase in those winds over the southeast coast as this low center starts to drop the pressures down here to the south with a high up over the Yukon. You can see puts a pretty good gradient across the southeast coast, so gusty northeast winds in the normally windier channeled areas there. Dry here to the west coast, eastern Bering Sea, dry, light winds for the Fox Islands, and then a weak front out here, again, brings some light rain to Adak and Atka, back to the northwest. Lows tonight, 15 to 20 below in the Copper River Basin, and anywhere from 0 to 10, south central Alaska, upper teens near Homer, upper 20s for Kodiak, mid-teens for Bristol Bay, and 10 to 15 northern Panhandle here, even down to the south there, Wrangell and Petersburg, with lows around 20 from Metlakatla over to Klawock and 23 for Sitka. Highs tomorrow in the 20s north, 30s south for the southeast coast, up to 3 for the Copper River Basin there, say at Gulkena or Copper Center, and Copper Center, and 15 to 20 Susitna Valley, 20 to 30 for the Kenai Peninsula, mid-30s there in Kodiak Island. In the 20s, lower to mid for Bristol Bay, 5 to 10 the Kuskokwim Valley, followed by lows down to around 15 below there in the Kuskokwim Valley, 5 below or 5 to 10 below in the Copper River Basin, back down into the teens for south central Alaska, upper 20s toward Kodiak, and 10 to 15 northern Panhandle, down into the lower 20s to the south. Highs for Friday afternoon, again 20s in the northern southeast coast, 30 to 35 to the south, and 5 to 10 the Copper River Basin. Looking at highs in the 20s here, south central Alaska, but near freezing for Homer, and 36 for Kodiak. Highs in the teens, lower to mid-20s, Bristol Bay, and 5 to 15 in the Kuskokwim Valley. Up to the north, lows tonight. Looks like Arctic Village should have the coldest temperature, minus 25. Otherwise, anywhere from 10 to 15 or 20 below for the northeast interior, north slope to the Arctic coast. Upper teens out towards St. Lawrence Island. Highs tomorrow into the single numbers here for the Tanana Valley, staying a little below 0 over the northeast part of the state, especially the Brooks Range over toward Anatuvik, and below 0 also for the Arctic coast, 15 to 20 for the Seward Peninsula, mid-20s for St. Lawrence Island, and then the lows on Friday morning. Looks like in the teens below 0 there for the Arctic coast, and 15 to 25 below for the North Slope and Brooks Range, and back below 0 all the way down to the Alaska Range, 0 to 5 for the Seward Peninsula, and about 6 for Gamble. Highs staying below 0 for the Arctic coast and North Slope into the Brooks Range, maybe the Yukon Flats there, with highs around 10 for the Tanana Valley. Chillier back to the west here, anywhere from 5 to 10. And for the Bering Sea tonight, lows in the lower to mid-30s, except upper 30s for the eastern Aleutians. Southwest coast, highs tomorrow, upper teens, lower 20s, mid-30s for the Pribilos, well into the 30s for the Aleutians. Followed by lows on Friday morning, about 5 to 10 for the southwest coast, and in the 30s for the Aleutians, upper 20s, lower 30s for the Alaska Peninsula, followed by highs there lower 30s, lower to mid 30s for the eastern Aleutians, closer to 40 for Adak, about 30 for St. Paul.